Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the video lesson. In this section we're going to be talking about what I did not do according to the checklist in my 2 excerpts on the left. So we're going to be comparing and contrasting these items over here on the right to my stories here on the left side. So first let's review quick and look at what I did do. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight in green on the right side what I did do. So first I have highlighted in green here. I developed realistic characters and developed details, action, dialogue where the characters spoke to each other, and internal thinking that contributes to the deeper meaning of the story. So let's look at this over here. As we go over here, I believe I have realistic characters here, people that are definitely believable, at least in my mind. I developed details and action. The action was what we learned about, or we looked at in the first video, where I underlined and highlighted in blue those action sequences where like possibly I heard someone, or I stepped up to the crowd, I was waiting for the bell, I pulled my backpack on, or down here Ryan looked at me, I looked at him. These are all action sequences, so I definitely did that. Dialogue, I didn't use it so much here in the second one, but I did use it a lot up here. There he is. The kid saying gingers have no soul. So I did use it up here, so that was where characters were talking. The internal thinking, I definitely showed what I was thinking in both of them. Right down here where it says my mouth right up, that kind of gives you possibly an internal thought that I was getting nervous or scared because the kids were starting to make fun of me here. So I do have this one pretty well. It's probably the best one I have, so we definitely highlighted that in green. The next thing I did do over here on the right was I developed relationships between characters to show why they act and speak as they do. So first, we got over here. You definitely see a relationship between me and the kids. You hear, there he is, and then you hear me kind of, or you see me through the story kind of getting ready and getting pulled up, and I'm listening to these kids, and all of a sudden I hear them singing. And you notice here, like I mentioned earlier, my mouth dries up and probably I get a little scared or nervous. So there's definitely a relationship between me and the other kids in this story, and it's not necessarily a positive one, but there's definitely a relationship there. At the bottom, this relationship between Ryan and the narrator, they're probably brothers. It does mention mom down here. But there's definitely a relationship there that they looked at each other, right? They knew that they were in trouble. My face burned, so it wasn't necessarily a bad relationship there, but it wasn't necessarily a good situation for either of those two characters, and they definitely had a relationship there. I told the internal as well as the external story. So the internal story here is like where I'm giving you insights to my thoughts up here, like we mentioned down here again. And that's like down here especially, I knew mom was going to kill us. She warned us not to wrestle in the living room. So these are sort of some like internal thoughts. The external story is like the action sequences that we spoke of earlier, where I was giving you points in the story where action was happening. I heard something, I stepped up somewhere, I pulled my backpack up, or in the first one, an action sequence would have been when they broke the vase. So there's definitely an external story there as well. So I did both of those really well. Now to the point where we get where I didn't do. So let's go ahead and take a pause and settle in for that. So several of you guys probably talked about how I did not really develop the inner thinking or the setting in either entry, and you were probably right. So we're going to highlight that in red down here. So I did not really use any descriptions or figurative language or symbolism to help readers picture setting. I don't really have any description of setting in either one of my entries. You might have also talked about how it's hard to tell some of the other items, like whether I developed my character's complexities. But since both of these moments are so short, it's really kind of hard to tell. Regardless, that's a really important observation. And it's a reminder to me as a writer over here to make a goal based on this, that I did not do this over here, so I can make a goal now to make sure I add that in the future. Probably when these excerpts become longer stories and I get a few more paragraphs in and I write much longer, those things will probably begin to fit in naturally. I'll start to describe setting and things like that nature, but it's definitely a good observation because it allows me to make a goal for myself for the future. So you guys should take note of that and make sure you're doing the same thing when it comes to your own writing. Last but not least, down here in yellow, I didn't really see that I did not do this thing, but it was really kind of hard to tell. It says that I use language to fit my story's meaning and context. I think I did do that, but I would like to see a little bit more writing just to make sure that I could confirm that I did that for sure. So that's why I put that in yellow, because I wasn't necessarily sure just yet, but it's something I could also make a goal for. So remember this when you guys get to your point. The things that you don't do in your writing, great point in time for you guys to highlight those things and make sure you make goals for yourself to add them in your writing in the future. All right? So use that to your advantage. And good luck when you guys start assessing your own writing. We'll see you next time.